Good. Any other questions from the floor there? No. Okay. Well, let's just have a look at another one then. Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you. Good.
I was a bit interested in this researchers in business idea put forward by one of the last speakers. In the good old days, that used to be called a sabbatical, and academics used to dash out and spend a year every 7 years or so in industry. Does that not happen anymore?
University people? Does it happen? Karen? Gus? Rob?
I've been around in the university sector for 20 years and it's not happened to me yet.
But you haven't been in Australia for that long.
No,
Gus?
that's true.
The sabbatical scheme still applies, and so typically the academics have 6 months every 3 years, and they can choose to take it however they want, and number of academics will choose to take some of that in industry where the right opportunity presents itself. Rob's point is very important, that there's a whole series of new drivers emerging. Well, they've always been there, but they're becoming stronger, and increasingly the focus will need to be in establishing research opportunities for many, where there's clearly going to be an opportunity to establish an ongoing research base. So, but yes, the opportunity is still there, but there's going to be pressure to make sure it's going to deliver long-term outcomes in research, and not just commercial opportunities, probably for that. But of course, some academics will choose, if they're looking at starting spin-off companies, then they can choose that opportunity as well as part of their sabbatical.
Good, thank you. Mike, I'll just follow up with a question here, really to Evangelist, which sort of connects a bit with that one. Somebody asked a question in the notes here: how does the one-to-one funding of the researcher in business compare to what you might get with the university directly, with where the leverage can be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 to 1? I guess, particularly given the comment about sabbatical, what is it that the research in business does that can't be done with what's already in place through project funding or sabbatical leave? Yes.
What I can say is that those programs in the university that secure the funding is very much a cycle, competitive programs you've got to apply and try to secure. The research and business program is, if you meet those eligibility criteria, government's keen to get the researchers into industry, and I have to say it's market driven. It's
okay.
Industry asking researchers to be kind of seconded out rather than those looking for sabbatical and going out. It's the reverse.
Okay. And
the program isn't, I'm not sure, I'm new at the department, but I don't think it's very much it's not a competitive, your application not competing against others. It's all about, if you meet the criteria, there's 50 placements per annum.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Good, thank you. So perhaps the answer is that it's a fairly easy way in without the competition that might lead to a higher leverage if you did it on a project basis. Okay, thank you. A question there at the back there?
Question for Vaj. When you said there was 50 allocated places, have they been allocated roughly to the states? And if so, how many has South Australia got? Or is it a first come, first served? Or is there a merit criteria applying behind the background?
It's first in, first serve. There's 50 placements. 10 of those will be taken up by CSIRO, and there is a third party that's going to act as an intermediary to place these other 40 researchers into industry. That hasn't been announced as yet, so that will be coming out soon. So in the meantime, you still can access this program via the webpage, and contacting Enterprise Connect.
Good, thank you. How are we going out there? We've just got about another minute and a half. There's one more question that I've got a piece of paper. Yes, up there, thank you.
The program that Karen spoke about, the medical program, I'm a bit unclear as to whether there's some plan for a similar program to be rolled out for other applications or other products or industries or...
I'm not really sure that I'm best placed to answer that. Certainly we have had interest from other groups, from other industries saying that, you know, we think this program as it's developed is easily extendable to another industry. So that I've had some discussions, but you know, it's sort of outside my field of expertise, other industries. So it's really the responsibility, I think, of those industries to drive that themselves.
Yes. If I could just respond to that, if I may too. I think, you know, I mentioned the clusters that we're developing, and clusters across sort of, you know, fairly focused industry groups, so that they're, you know, the whole advanced manufacturing thing is so big. But if you look at the capabilities, for example, and you can imagine having some fairly tightly focused clusters where people have a common interest. Some companies, some researchers would be in a couple of clusters, and I think, you know, the answer there is that you have to tailor the engagement, you know, to suit the particular needs of the industry people. Did you want to?
So if a company wants to be involved in a process like that, but isn't quite sure where they fit, where do they start?
Centre for Innovation would be a good contact point at this stage. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just finish with one tiny little one, Greg? Because, you know, we focused on industry wanting, you know, needing to engage with the universities. But of course, the reverse is true as Gus and I guess Kristen emphasised. University people actually like that engagement with industry because it throws up really interesting and challenging problems, usually often very complex ones. And here's something from a comment here from a PhD student in one of the universities. How can I get in touch with industry, as my research project is related to maintenance optimization in manufacturing? My answer to that student is, first step is talk to your supervisor. If he or she doesn't know, then you're in trouble. Now, I think we should stop at that point. Perhaps can I just take the opportunity to ask you all to collectively thank the panel for their responses. Thank you.
Before moving to closing the formal proceedings this afternoon, I'd like to touch on a few issues that were raised. First of all, just to let you know that the TechFast program is still alive and well here in Adelaide. Whilst it doesn't have the funding that it did during the pilot phase from the federal government, DTED is supporting that program here, and it's being delivered through the AIC State Manager Simon Williams, who's sitting over the side there. So if you want to talk to him about the industry-university collaboration process through TechFast, then Simon's your man. So there's one avenue for you. Secondly, the work to get to where we have tonight is not the end point, it's really a beginning. And if you're interested in participating and continuing to be involved in where we can take this in the advanced manufacturing sector, please contact or have any other queries related to anything related to tonight. Please speak to any of the Centre for Innovation staff that are here tonight. Tom is quite recognisable and you've already seen him around. In addition to Tom here, we've got Don Edwards in the back corner, and also Bob Jones just down the middle here, and Paul Nolan over here, or myself. So there's a number of us here that you can speak to and leave a business card with, but there will also be a follow-up process that we'll use tonight to engage and assess interest and where we take